I once again need to redo this thing. Alright. And configure, and we have jumper OO trutaCz. Okay. So in the bottom left as the teal Zerg, it is trutaCz, and in the top right as the brown Protoss, it is jumper. There we go. And that could be lined up ever so slightly better. Let's actually put it way over here. Okay. Sweet. So, PvZ on match point, jumper versus trutaCz. If I remember correctly, last time Poland and USA played, it was during the playoffs, and America won 2-0, and trutaCz actually lost his game in a 1-2 versus draw. So he's not invincible versus he's not invincible when playing against really talented Protosses. I'll have to see what jumper is capable of. Not surprisingly, gonna be going for a 9 pool. And I don't know why that's highlighted. Alright. So... what? Why is the forge there? So we can put the gateway here? And then have one kind of weird hole on this side? Unless he like puts up pylon here, but then still not tight. Okay, jumper's doing some kind of weird wall. I guess it is going to be gateway here, so that there's one hole down the middle, and then some kind of hole over on this side. Lings are on the way, and where South Park just chased around the scouting probe, instead, trutaCz is just going to use his initial lings to attack, try to break through. Going to not quite be in time, though. It is only 2 cannons, though. It's 2 cannons, and he can largely avoid them. Ooh, here we go. That's one way to avoid them. Going to fly the Overlord in. Overlord no. Oh man, I thought he was going to get really fancy there. Fly the Overlord in to tank some of the cannon shots, and then slip the Zerglings in. If he really needed to, he could have gotten most of them in. By hugging this side, this cannon would not have done very much, and then he was just run buying 1 cannon for not very long. So you can go up and around behind the mineral line, just avoid everything. Alright. So, hatchery for trutaCz. This is, trutaCz actually has an opportunity to play on this map a lot. I don't know if they've been picking trutaCz to go out on this map, but I've noticed that trutaCz has played on match point a lot during Nation Wars. And this is rather common for him to pick the 3rd here. It doesn't have a gas, and it can really only be defended when you, it can really only be defended by having a large army. Because you don't want to have to build a SimCity here. Building SimCities against this ramp just rarely works out for Zerg. You want to have a big Hydralisk force up here. So, you combine those two things, not having a gas and wanting to have a lot of Hydralisks. Typically, players will have a lot of Hydralisks. But not always. It is possible to play kind of standard 3-hatch Spire game without that second gas, or without the third gas. Alright. And over on Jumper's side, we're gonna skip Corsairs. It does look like we're skipping Corsairs, going straight for the Citadel. There's an Overlord to see that there's no Stargate. Obviously can't be 100% sure because the Stargate could be hiding up here, but it's a pretty good indication. Regardless of whether there is a hidden Stargate or not, there's definitely a fast Citadel. So knows the threat of knows the threat of DTs, knows the threat of +1 attack. Although +1 attack's not coming. Jumper has not started +1, but already started speed. So is this going to be... Ooh. Okay. Now he is getting +1, but it's a pretty late +1. I don't know if there's a timing attack that really is going to be revolving around that, because by the time the +1 finishes, Zerg could have lurkers. If trutaCz really wanted lurkers at that point, he could have them. Certainly could have Mutalisks, as the Spire is 80% done. It was looking like for a second there that he was just going to throw down a lot of gateways and build a ridiculous number of unupgraded speed lots, which would be quite weird. But no, you wouldn't want to do that. You'd want to have the +1 anyway, just because if you're building a lot of gateways and speed lots, you still don't have anything to spend that gas on. And actually, you can see Jumper is banking pretty high in the gas area. I would imagine he's going to throw down the Templar Archives pretty soon. That is a very quick way to get rid of all your gas. Build a few DTs, build a few high Templars for an Archon, boom, it's all gone. So, Zealot's moving out now from Jumper. He got that early speed, but he doesn't have the +1. So I'm interested to see how this is going to work out. Ooh. I have not seen this SimCity before. Not even from trutaCz. It's a very far back SimCity. Normally you see them try to put the SimCity up here and then something's like back here. Or maybe wall over like this. I think I've seen that a couple times. But no, he's going to build it down this way and put them very far back, kind of neutralizing the ramp. The ramp just isn't a factor in this wall. Very interesting. I like that SimCity. I think that's the best I've ever seen that mineral only defended. Unfortunately, he does open himself up to an attack from this direction, and then your wall doesn't get to do you a whole lot. He's building another evolution chamber here, which could help out against that kind of stuff. Alright. Well, Jumper got his Templar Archives, and he's building 2 Archons, but he still has 1,000 gas. So still looking for ways to get rid of that. And Jumper really does want to do this attack, but I don't think it's going to happen. Yeah, he needs to pull back now. Doesn't... Oh, there we go. I was going to say he didn't have +1, but it just kicked in as I was speaking. So now he can hold his own a little bit better versus a large number of Zerglings if trutaCz goes in that direction. How much longer until Lurkers? No, not immediately going for Lurkers. Instead going for the Hydralisk upgrades. Alright. Okay. So, despite the fact that trutaCz saw some early Zealot presence from Jumper, he's not going to be baited into just going immediate Lurkers. He's going to stick with his game plan, which appears to be a pretty sizable Hydralisk army. With getting the upgrades now. I'm not yes, it is. Okay. I was wondering if that second Evo chamber was just for defense, or whether he really did want some fast upgrades. Obviously, he's going to be getting upgrades out of 1, but he could be getting upgrades out of 2, and he is. That +1 armor is going to be very nice And now we have an engagement here. trutaCz doing some nice micro with those Hydralisks, keeping them alive for the most part, and taking out the large portion of Jumper's army. Just has the Archons left, along with that one goon. And the Hydralisks might even be able to catch them. They can do a lot of damage to the Archons very quickly, and they are faster now that they have the speed upgrade. No, it doesn't look like the Archons are going to die. That one getting kind of close, getting down to below 100 shield at one point. Ooh, there's a good storm. There's a good storm. And now, with the presence of storm out on the map, trutaCz does need to be a little bit more careful. At the same time, there aren't that many High Templar out for Jumper. So, by using those two storm, he doesn't have any more, I don't think. Unless there's another Templar out there. Ooh, going for the snipe on the +2 attack upgrade, taking it out. And Jumper's stuck at +1. These Hydralisks, not gonna turn around? No, don't want to fight the Zealots right now. Alright. So, that's the 4th base. It's the 4th base for trutaCz. Jumper is taking a decently quick 3rd. You don't normally see, in some games you won't see Protoss take it this quickly, but just wants to make sure he doesn't get contained. Hasn't seen any lurkers, but really, now should be the time to take an expansion anyway if you have the opportunity, and Jumper's going to jump at it. Still a lot of Hydralisks out for trutaCz. It's a very scary army if Jumper is caught out of position, but as long as Jumper is keeping his army bunched up, not engaging in horribly open places, and has some storm, he should be fine. Should be absolutely fine. Alright. Looks like one Zealot gonna get a drone kill. So, yeah, I just wanted to come back to see. He was obviously going to rebuild one of his forges, but I wouldn't have been surprised if he was going double forge at this point, which he is. So 2-1 is on the way for him. We already have 1-1 on the Hydralisks, and 2-2 is coming up. So going to be quite strong, and the added benefit of going for those early armor upgrades is it means that when he inevitably does switch for Hive, the Zerglings have a really nice head start on their upgrades, which they wouldn't have if he had gone for the more standard 1 Evo chamber. Also, my chat might just be dead. That's starting to look that way. So, attack coming out. Excuse me. Attack coming out from Jumper here. A very strong army, but he does need to be careful about situations like this with his army getting a little bit ahead. Oh, but those are good storms, killing off so many of the Hydralisks. Man, and so many storms at this point. Some Zerglings coming in from the rear, though. A really nice flank from trutaCz. It won't allow him to win the battle, but it does mean that he gets to take out some goons with some and only trade away some relatively cheap Zerglings. Rather nice, actually. He will be able to take this battle. He will be able to. Only one High Templar left. It was looking so good for Jumper in the beginning, but trutaCz was able to just keep reinforcing, and took that. And it's quite a blow for Jumper to lose his entire army. Really puts him on the defensive, and can be really bad. Without an army, it's very difficult for Protoss to take a 4th base. Just about any situation, not just on this map. But you can rarely do it with cannons alone. Alright. So, It looks like trutaCz is going into a really aggressive mode here. Just wanting to throw out a lot of units here before Jumper can get up a solid army and just see what sticks in terms of aggression. Just see where he can try to find weaknesses in Jumper's defenses. He's not going to find a whole lot, but he can pick off some units in the middle of the map, trading away some pretty inexpensive stuff. Alright. So, Hive is done. We're getting the crackling upgrades. I have to assume that we're now researching. No. Wow, do we have another Evo chamber somewhere? Yeah, we do. Okay. I was wondering why we weren't getting more. Excuse me. I was wondering why we weren't getting more circling attack upgrades, but we are. Presumably. Alright. Man. Jumper really scared off by those lurkers. He decided to allow the Nexus to die rather than moving his units into range of those lurkers. I don't know if that's the right decision. He's going to be ending up losing these units. I guess if he did sacrifice all those units, or a good chunk of them, the Nexus probably would have died anyway. There's no real way to reinforce that. Okay. So, even though Jumper did lose that base, and he has been losing some engagements, it's not that bad for him. It's 3 base versus 4, or 3 base versus 5 now that this is up. Which isn't horrible. It's still not horrible for a Protoss player. Kind of okay, especially if he's able to take this out here, which it's looking like he can. trutaCz's army is coming down though. He doesn't have a whole lot of time. But if he gets in there, he's going to have a lot of storm through this choke. And a potential to do a lot of damage here. Against trutaCz's army coming in. Nah, he doesn't have enough attacking units left. He just won't be able to take out the hatchery. Even so, that wasn't a very big army at all, and he did do some good damage. There were a lot of drone kills in there. And now sending these zealots to go top left, trying to divert attention a little bit, trying to split trutaCz's army. Ooh, we do have a couple of defilers out. Can the zealots pick them off? I'm getting one of them. Man, but the waves of cracklings here, they're 1-3 cracklings. What does Jumper have? He has 3-1-2. Still, those cracklings are so scary and they're so cheap at this point. Alright. Yet another attack on this base. Looks like Jumper's game plan has, he's kind of not bothering with map control at this point. He's kind of ceding that to trutaCz, and instead he's going to try to just attack. Attack bottom, then attack top. Then attack bottom, then attack top. Or at least that's what it's looking like. This time he will be able to kill the base off. trutaCz sending in Lings now. Those Lings will be able to clear it up once again. There are some High Templar here. Okay. There we go. High Templar getting a bunch of kills there. Man, he has a nasty habit of storming his own units. Not like they were going to live anyway. So, trutaCz clears that up. He also has Ultralisks. Where's the cavern? There it is. Getting speed. Alright. Yeah, this is looking pretty bad for Jumper at this point. He lost his initial army, which normally for a Protoss player isn't that bad, but he just never focused on making another army. It was always, anytime he had units, he just threw them away in attacks, and they were able to do a little bit damage here and there, but what really cost him was when he gets to this stage in the game, and what's he going to do? How are you ever going to be able to match up to a Zerg player? How are you going to be able to get another base? He's on one mining base at this point, and that one's almost done? Yeah. Not good at all. trutaCz taking the very commanding 6th base. 6th base on match point is very much so a game-winning move. When you take that base and are able to secure it, it just puts your opponent in such a bind that... Oh, that was literally everything but this one Zealot. That Zealot and that one Dark Templar. Wow, that's a pretty good plague. That is a pretty good plague. Hope you have shield up. No, you have no shield upgrades. Well, every unit gets to be an Archon now. It's our own little mini Archon. Well, despite the fact that so many of those units are at low health, they were able to do some good damage there. Able to take out a lot of Zerglings, and maybe even a couple Ultralisks. Jumper doing a good job of mixing in the DTs there, and the DTs plus Archons can really take a lot of the punch out of Ultralisk-based armies, but yeah, I don't know. With that plague that went off, it was only a matter of time before the army started to dwindle away. We have reinforcements coming out for Jumper now. Interesting, his choice to not use Dragoons. There are no Dragoons in Jumper's army, and there haven't been for quite a while. Alright. But while Jumper's able to win these engagements, trutaCz is very happy with just losing them. It doesn't matter. Jumper's not getting any closer to taking out a base. He's not getting any closer to taking a base of his own. And eventually this is going to go down. It's kind of little hodgepodge of an army out in the middle of the map. Yeah, Jumper can't win the war of attrition. Alright, so that is Jumper's last minerals. He's got 16 more here if he really needs them, but 16 won't even be enough for a probe. So yeah, he is completely out. Yeah, he doesn't even have enough for a Nexus. So if somehow he was able to get into a position where he could secure a base bottom right, he would have the long distance mine for a while. There we go, GG. And trutaCz is going to be the first Polish winner today. Finally giving Poland a game win. Not a point on the board, mind you, but a game win. Alright. So, I'm going to restart my chat. See if that could possibly change anything. It could still be broken. Closing that. This goes here. And this goes here. Alright. We'll see if that makes a difference. Probably not. Probably some big League of Legends tournament going on right now. Alright, game number 2. I'm actually kind of curious if there is some big League of Legends tournament going on right now. Yeah, that looks like a pretty big League of Legends tournament. Thanks, League of Legends. Alright. In top position as Brown Protoss, we have Jumper of North America. And in... mess that up. And in the right position as the Red Zerg, we have trutaCz of Poland. Alright. So, Jumper chose Icarus. You don't see a lot of people picking Icarus as a map. It doesn't happen too often. Normally if you just want a 4-player map, you're picking a much more standard one. Fighting Spirit, obviously, but also Jade. Even Electric Circuit to a certain extent. But Icarus, it's really just an aggressive map. It really favors players who are aggressive. And in certain cases it can become a very defensive map if you get past the initial stages of the game. Then all of a sudden no one wants to move. All of a sudden everything just gets locked down very tightly, but the game has to get significantly long at that point, and that doesn't tend to happen a lot on this map. Not that often. Alright, well, that would explain why Jumper wanted to go for this map. He's going to be going for a 2-gate. Not a 9-9 gate, mind you, but it's a 2-gate. And with the short rush distances on this map, 2-gate can be quite strong. Unfortunately for Jumper, trutaCz went 9-pool, which was really to be expected at that point. That's not what I want. Alright. So, trutaCz is going to be able to have Lings out. As many Lings as he wants to try to hold off this aggression. Unfortunately for Jumper, despite even though he wanted to be really aggressive off of this build, odds are he's going to have to play it defensively, at least for a little while here, and make sure that there are no serious Ling run-bys. Alright. So, Overlord can see... Actually, can't see the ramp. I was going to say that Overlord can see the ramp and knows what the situation is. So instead of the Zerglings going up and checking it out, getting hit a little bit, they can just hide over here. And that's what they're doing now. They're hiding over here looking for the backstab. Okay. So, now, this could be just a really very defensive measure from trutaCz. Wow, actually, this is a third hatchery before gas. No, it could be a defensive measure if he really is scared of Jumper moving out with a lot of zealots, and he just wants to be able to get Hydralisks up. But I think it's more likely that he wants to be aggressive against Jumper, knowing that Jumper won't have any kind of wall. The Hydralisk bust is going to be rather effective, assuming that he can survive against this. There are 7 zealots coming and a probe. Probe could be in there just to do a little bit extra damage. Could be there to throw down a shield battery. Or cannons? No, not cannons. That's not a forge. Alright. Anyway, here comes the backstab that trutaCz had been planning for, actually, a little while. Those lings had been hiding out there for a good while. And see what kind of probe kills they can get. Meanwhile, on the other side, Zealots still looking strong here. The sunken colonies have just come in, but one of them is going to go down immediately. The other one will stay alive a little bit longer here, as these Zealots are taking a lot of damage, but at the same time, they're killing a whole lot of Zerglings and getting that sunken colony. There we go. Sunken colony goes down. Does he have these control group? Yes, he does. So 2 Zealots very injured, 2 of them at quite nice health. Over on the other side, it looks like the Zerglings have been cleaned up. And Jumper, he doesn't seem down probes. He seems to have a pretty good pack of probes there. So Jumper, looking rather nice right now. Looking rather nice. This is going to be pretty hard for trutaCz. I mean, trutaCz does have some amazing Zergling micro. But, ooh. If Jumper... No, he's not going to be able to do that. Here we go. Zerglings coming in, and they will be able to clean up all of the Zealots. That looked really scary for just a little while there, because if Jumper had taken out that spawning pool, that was game over. He can't get a lair, can't get any more sunken colonies, can't get Hydralisk dead. It's just... That would have been it, but no, those Zealots were quite damaged. Oh, this is going to be a little bit annoying. As I said, he doesn't have a Hydralisk den yet, and the first Corsair is out for Jumper. So that Corsair should be able to get a very nice number of kills here. There's an Evolution Chamber. We're going to go Evolution Chamber first, instead of Hydralisk den. And while Jumper is only on 1 base, he never did expand, it's looking pretty good for him right now. Looking very nice for him. trutaCz just at 16 supply. Some more Zealots coming in, trying to do more damage. Don't think he has quite enough, though. There are still a good number of Zerglings, but if trutaCz is at 19 supply and has any number of Zerglings, that means his drone saturation is rather poor. And Zealots running behind the minerals. Alright. Man. trutaCz just may never be able to afford those spore colonies. The spore colonies are actually going to be rather expensive and cause him to sacrifice some drones, which he doesn't want to be doing now. So instead, this Corsair is just going to continue to rack up the kills. Should probably send this Overlord over here. There we go. Split them up, so the Corsair will be able to get both of them, but at least it takes a little bit longer. And, well, he got 1 spore. We have 1 spore up. No spore in the main, but it's defending the 2 Overlords. trutaCz only needs 3 Overlords right now. Where's the other? There's the other one. That one could be picked off by the Corsair, but the Corsair doesn't quite see it. Alright, and that creep colony's coming in. That's going to make pretty short work of the Zealots, or at least force the Zealots to get out of there. I'd be surprised if Jumper doesn't try to move out with them before that, because otherwise he's just going to be kind of sacrificing them, and nah. trutaCz is ready for that. Jumper will be able to get some more Zergling kills. I mean, trade is not that profitable, but wow. Okay. You know, take that back. I thought the trutaCz was going to be able to win that, but just barely. And instead, he actually loses the first attack. Did need that Sunken Colony to come up to really dish out some heavy damage. And now there's not a whole lot trutaCz can do. He's just going to make lings off of 3 bases. They do have speed, but yeah, something went wrong in the game when your opponent has Archons out, and the highest tech you have ever gotten to is Spawning Pool. Something went wrong in that game. Oh, we are going one step up in our backstab strategies. Interesting. He kind of needs a miracle here. Well, that's not going to work. Maybe needed to wait a little bit longer to go for the backstab. That would have been sick. That would have been sick. There are still 2 there if he didn't unburrow. Possibly because he just selected 12 and then kind of forgot about the other ones. Or possibly because he just wants them there. Alright, another evolution chamber, another sunken colony. This is looking like a very strong Sim City for how much he spent on it, but at the same time, 2 Archons, that many Zealots? Can he? Is there any way he can get in? Would prefer to have the... If trutaCz has the micro for it, he should be trying to get these sunken colonies to target the Archons. The Archons are a lot scarier right now than the Zealots, and the Sunkens will do more damage to them. There goes 1, and there we go. GG from trutaCz. Jumper, not wanting to let down his North American brethren, is going to tie it up 1-1. Oh, hey, I just got welcome to the chat room. Maybe chat works now. Or maybe not. Those are the 2 options. Either it is working now or it is not working now. Alright, game number 3, Fighting Spirit. In the top red is the red Protoss. We have Jumper. And as the white Zerg in the top left, we have trutaCz. So I actually don't even have to change anything on my overlay. That is always nice. Oh yes, chair. Valid point from Jumper. Cute. Cute little banner. Alright. So, trutaCz did kind of the same build 2 games in a row. And obviously we didn't get to see the entire evolution of what he wanted to do in the second game, but still going for early pool. Jumper doesn't look like he's going to try to go back to the 9-well pool twice. Well, maybe. That sunken colony. That pylon is placed a little bit far forward. Maybe he will go 2-gate again. Alright, both players... Excuse me. Both players scouting out their opponent first. trutaCz, 9 pool again. Now what does Jumper do here? Is he going to go for Gateway or is he going to go for Forge? And... no, Forge. Okay. So... Alright, the pylon looks like it'll get in a weird spot, but that's going to work out fine. It's Forge here, and then Gateway on top. Some pretty small holes, and not that many of them, and then he can kill the pylon later to let goons out. Not a bad wall. Not the typical wall for Fighting Spirit, though, in this position, if I remember correctly. Alright. Lings are out. He did scout his opponent first, so he knows what the wall looks like, and he has the option to go for it or not. But apparently looking a little bit too scary for trutaCz there. Not going to bother trying to challenge it. Instead, just going to chase around the probe in the main. I'm actually kind of curious about trutaCz's micro here. Oh, well, that's one way of doing it. But when he was chasing it around, he wasn't doing the normal, quote-unquote, way of chasing around a scouting worker. Normally, you have one Zergling pursuing the worker, like right-click to it, and the other 5, you left-click to move near the worker, and then you right-click it whenever any of them are close, then get a couple shots off. But he wasn't doing that. He didn't have any that were just directly following the worker, not the lurker. Directly following the worker. Alright. trutaCz does have a third. Very normal expansion place for most Zergs. For trutaCz, not quite as normal. You'll see him take this expansion a lot of times, but this might have to do something with the positions. That base is exposed and very close to jumper. So maybe he would have liked to have taken a base like that, but since his opponent was clockwise, since his opponent was clockwise of him, decided against it. Or maybe he just wants to play defensively this game. That's also a possibility. Man. Is that a second scouting probe? It might be. George's done a pretty nice job of keeping that thing alive. Or at least a pretty nice job of having scouting information of his opponent. Kept it alive a very long time. Realizing there's no Hydralisk bust is quite an advantage. And one Zealot here. One Zealot usually loses against 4 Lings. So Jumper would probably like to avoid that. Alright. Well, we're gonna... looks like, as opposed to all the very aggressive play early last game, this game looking a lot more like a standard PvZ. Getting the Stargate up, getting the Citadel. Have a nice little wall here. I'm starting to add up the Zealot numbers. This game, Jumper is going for +1 at a normal time. So that is good. I think that Jumper's strategy suffered in the match point game because he didn't get the +1 very quickly. I think he would have been a lot stronger off if he hadn't delayed that. Alright. So, Corsair doesn't really need to go for the scout on trutaCz, can instead just kill some overlords. And actually looking for another one right now. There is one down here. And presumably Jumper will send that Corsair down. Yep, he's gonna find it. Where are the Scourge? They should be out by now. No. No, that Spire isn't quite done. I think the Spire was a little bit late. Normally the Corsair does not get 2 kills very cleanly, where this time it had plenty of time for 2 kills, and if it finds that Overlord quickly enough, possibly even a third? A little bit doubtful that if it could get it or not, but it's possible. And oh, a little bit of lax in concentration there. Alright. So, speed is done. Yes, speed is done. +1 is done. +1 is almost done. And that's a very strong Zealot force. That's 9? Yeah, that's 9 Zealots. A little bit stronger than you would normally expect. Jumper didn't throw away any of his early Zealots. And that looks like a pretty standard SimCity here from trutaCz. If trutaCz isn't careful, he might end up losing a good chunk of stuff here. He does have some Zerglings to come in for reinforcement. Not going to do a whole lot of damage, but can distract the Zealots, allow the Suckers and the other Hydras to do damage, and even giving himself enough time to get some more reinforcements in here. And that was a dangerous situation for trutaCz, but he executed that defense brilliantly. Hardly taking any damage at all. A really nice win for him there. Alright. Jumper has some DTs out. Obviously not terribly concerned about the detection aspect of them, but just using them as dudes that can hit for 40 each shot. Can take out the Hydralisk very quickly. Unfortunately, there were not a whole lot of Zealots to support that kind of attack, so these DTs are very vulnerable targets right now. Just trying to run away from that Overlord. It's only going to cost him 1. Wow. That could have been significantly worse. Although these DTs are kind of trapped at this point. No? No, they can get out? Yeah, looks like trutaCz is going to allow them out. I thought those Overlords were going to be in position so that if they tried to run down the ramp, trutaCz would move his Hydralisk and pick them off, but no. Jumper keeps 3 of the DTs alive. All right. So, attack back on the natural. We do have some storm here, but ooh, not a whole lot of storm, and those were not some good storms to start this out. Again, not really getting a whole lot there. Kills 2 Hydralisks, but kills his own Zealot? Ugh. We do have these Zealots now taking out the drones. The drones are trying to block the ramp, preventing the Zealots running into the main, but it's going to cost him a lot of drones there. And that is rather nice. Rather nice for Jumper. Does end up losing it all, though. And in these engagements, he hasn't been killing off a lot of Hydralisks. He's expanding, and that might come back to bite him. To allow trutaCz to have such a big Hydralisk army at this point, pretty much uninterrupted. And if trutaCz wants to go for an attack right now, he might be able to pick off that third. Might just be able to. I guess he doesn't have that many Hydralisks. Trying to find some more here. Is that double Evo? It's Overlord speed. Yeah, double Evo once again. Do like double Evo from Zerg. It pays off in the mid game and it pays off in the late game. It's just a really solid move if you don't want to immediately kill your opponent, which it doesn't look like trutaCz is going to be able to this game. Yeah, 85 to about 100 supply, which is pretty even. Possibly even an advantage for Zerg at this point. But yeah, I mean, Jumper's getting his 3rd base up. trutaCz is getting his 4th base up. I'd say it's about even. It's about even at this point. No. Those are, yeah. Just taking out that pylon to allow the Archon out. Once again, it looks like Jumper's playing PvZ with a 0... Okay, now he's starting to add some Dragoons. Was going to say 0 Dragoons. We really did not see him play a whole lot of Goons out in the match point game. So, Hive for trutaCz. trutaCz. Yep, and that's what you should be looking for at this point. Once you get to 4 bases, you really do want to get that Hive. You can start using your gas in more profitable ways than just in Lurkers and Hydras. And really, because he has those because he has the upgrades, actually triple Evo now. Because he has those upgrades, his units are just going to be able to stay on par with Jumpers or even surpass them in terms of cost efficiency. Not a whole lot here from trutaCz. Jumper's going to be able to push through that. And now, ooh, nice little Templar snipe there. Just using those Hydralists is going to cost him 2 Hydralists to pick off a High Templar and then an Observer. Rather nice move there from trutaCz. And actually going to be able to win that engagement with just these Lings. These annoying Lings, they don't even have the adrenal glands yet. It's coming. Ooh. Shuttle? Gonna see a little bit of harass out of Jumper. We didn't see him harass at all in the match point game. He just sent a lot of attacks out, but nothing like storm drops. Alright, so about 140 here, compared to about 130. That is an advantage for Zerg. And, ooh, Shuttle accidentally finding the majority of trutaCz's army, but it gets out of there. It can still get the storm drop off. Oh, just barely before the Scourge get there, and the storm does go off. Not a whole lot of damage, but a little bit. Modest damage with that storm drop. It was only just a single High Templar. Didn't have a shuttle filled with like 4 High Templar or 2 High Templar DT Zealot like you sometimes see out of players. And now Jumper, this is going to be a very important battle for him. He cannot afford to lose this, and if he's able to win it, then he might be able to take out trutaCz's natural. Certainly take out a big portion of the scary force that trutaCz is doing. We saw trutaCz wheeling around the bottom side of the map, potentially looking for an attack there, and Jumper was able to divert the attention away from bottom, but yeah, does not have a good answer for Zerglings right now. It's just too many Dragoons. So, yeah, this is a big army from Jumper. Without a doubt, it's a big army. But once he loses just a few more Zealots, how does he trade cost efficiently with Cracklings? I don't know if I like this move from Jumper. I think you should keep the majority of this stuff alive, and then come back once you're able to add in 2 more Archons and a control group of Zealots. If not 2 control groups of Zealots. But maybe he does have the power to do some damage here. Forcing him to build some more sunken colonies. We do have Defilers out now with Consume from trutaCz. So those are going to make life for the Dragoons difficult. Finding a couple of Lurkers out in the middle of the map. Does manage to get both of them. And the Lings. There we go. Finally we get some good swarms. We did not see any swarms in the previous games, just did not have the opportunity to use them. And now we're starting to see him, and that's just going to dominate what Jumper's able to do here. It's a very, very goon-heavy army, which is... It's strong in the right situation, but it can be very difficult at times to get that right situation to occur. You need to have no swarm, you need to not be surrounded, you need to... your opponent needs to not have a super high number of cracklings. Alright. Jumper's mined out in his main. Almost mined out in the natural, that leaves him with just the third after that. And again, he's getting into a situation where it doesn't look like he wants to take another base. Instead, he'd rather just win the game off of 3 bases. It's a risky decision, but he's making a lot of progress. It's really just the swarm that's keeping him back right now. He doesn't have a good answer to it, but at the same time, there doesn't seem to be any... Oh, there's the Defiler. But the Defiler's kind of out of position if Jumper just wants to go deeper into the natural. Another swarm going down. There aren't that many units anymore to be put under the swarm, so the swarm is starting to lose a lot of its threat potential here. There goes the Defiler. And yeah, this is the situation where Dragoons start to excel. Where they're able to just wipe away buildings very quickly. They don't have to worry about Sim City at all. And Jumper might be able to actually push through this. Maybe? Maybe here? Oh, Plague going down, hitting a good number of goons. Oh. I don't know, the Plague isn't that bad. The High Templar obviously really doesn't matter if they're plagued. And as far as the goons go, if things are attacking the goons, they're kind of going to die anyway, whether or not they have that much health. That doesn't matter so much for them. Man, DT is able to do a lot of damage here, really helping out, taking out the sunken colonies and softening up some of the units, allowing Jumper's army to move in ever closer. Still no Defilers here. trutaCz just switched to mostly Ultralisks in the defense, and the Ultralist versus a pure goon army, not a pure goon army, but a heavily goon army, just not going to do what you want it to. The natural's done. And Jumper, does he move up and try to take out this tech? Or does he pull back and accept the fact that he's won? Because this base doesn't have any minerals left. Maybe it's not worth potentially sacrificing your entire army when you're only on one base yourself. trutaCz is by no means out of it. Again, Jumper's on one base. It's one base versus 2 base right now, in Zerg's favor. But it looks like Zerg is going to be losing a lot of his tech here. Or at least a part of it. I don't see how trutaCz is able to save this. We have a 90s Canal. Going to certainly help rally in some new units from the bottom position. But man, is that a lot of DTs. There's the GG from trutaCz. He can't defend it. North America beats Poland 4-0. Ouch, not the way Poland wants to start off the playoffs. Alright. That was the only game that was cast, or, excuse me, the only game that was played today. So that's all I have to cast. Next week, we will see more tiebreak. Excuse me, we will see more games. Central Europe will be playing, and I'm not sure if it's Central Europe versus North America, where North America gets a chance to absolutely clinch 100% they're in the finals, or North America versus Poland, where Poland absolutely needs to win 100% or they are eliminated. Either way, should be entertaining. All 3 teams have some great players. Thank you all for watching, and thank you, of course, to the Swedish Brood War Initiative. Actually, I need to talk to Java Lateran to see if they have worked out their PayPal situation. I'll get you updates about that for next week. But that's it for me for today. The next time Nation Wars come back is next week for one of those 2 matches. Either North America's chance to clinch finals or Poland's chance to stay alive. And that will be at 20:30 CET. On Saturday. Other than that, I have a little cast coming up tomorrow with Elmaster for the Random Star League. So a little bit less serious than this. Everybody plays random in that league, so if you are a fan of wacky shenanigans, I invite you to go watch that. That's going to be tomorrow, like right around this time tomorrow, I think. I need to look up the exact time we're doing it. But until next time, I hope you all enjoyed. Sorry I couldn't talk to you in the chat, but that's fine. I'll see you all next time. Bye.